Okay guys, so this video right here is just going to be an introduction tutorial to Google Drawing. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you are logged in to my Google Classroom, and the code for that is A3PJQN for 5th grade, and for 6th grade it's IOAP6EB, and for 4th grade it's Z3BJYDY, and I'll have those up on the screen for you. Alright, and once you get into the Google Classroom, the top lesson is Graphic Design Project 1, Design Your Own Emoji. So over here there'll be a button that says Open, so you want to click that to open the lesson. And then down here there will be a button that says Create with a little arrow. If you click the arrow, a little box will pop up that says has some choices of some different Google Docs you can create. You want to choose Google Drawing. Then once you click that, you'll see right above where it said Create, you'll see your file will be sitting right there. You want to click that and it will open up in a new tab, and it'll look like this. So this is Google Drawing right here. Now automatically Google Drawing will title your work. If you open a Google Drawing from the assignment, it'll title it with your name and then the name of the assignment. And then once you get here, there's going to be a few things that we need to do to set up before we can draw. So the first thing we need to do is we want to change the page setup. So you're going to go to File, Page Setup, and then it won't look like this at first. You'll just see a box with this right here, and it'll have some presets. So click the arrow, the little button arrows right here, and click Custom, and you want to make both boxes say 10 so that your drawing is a square. So you can see my drawing is a square. The reason why you want it to be a square is because emojis are all based off of the square shape. Even though most of them are circles, circles fit into squares perfectly. Okay. Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pull in a master image. So you're going to be redesigning emoji. So imagine that we all work for Apple, and this year we're going to come up with some new emoji designs for the new iOS release in the fall. And we want to take some of the old emojis that Apple has put out, some tried and true ones, and we want to refresh them a little bit. We want to zhuzh them up a little bit, make them a little bit neater and newer. So what you're going to do is you're going to go up here and you're going to click on the New Tab button right up here, and then that'll take you to a Google search page, and you're just going to type in the name of your favorite emoji. Make sure that your emoji is appropriate for school. No poop emojis allowed, no offensive gestures, none of that. No memes. We want emojis, not your meme cartoon characters, emojis. And then just search that up. Now there's a lot of ways that you can get your image. You want to click on Images right here. You can get your image into Google Drawing. The easiest way for you guys, since you guys have kind of a tiny little screen, is to just pick the best image that you want. You don't want it to be too pixely or grainy. And then once you click it, this little menu will open up. You're going to right click on that and you're going to click Copy Image. And then once you're done doing that, just go back to your Google Drawing, and anywhere in the page right click and paste, and that'll give you your drawing, and I can get rid of this guy. Okay, so now let me teach you a few keyboard shortcuts. So that way keyboard shortcuts keep you on task and focused and concentrating and allow you to get work done a lot faster. So the first keyboard shortcuts that I'm going to teach you it's actually a pair of keyboard shortcuts. It's how to zoom in and zoom out. You don't want to use the zoom tool in the browser, which there is one here. You don't want to use that because that's going to zoom the entire window in and out. You only want to zoom right here. So if you look up here to View, you'll see it says Zoom, and then over here it says Zoom in, Zoom out. Those are the two keyboard shortcuts. Now mine says Command Option Plus, but yours, since your guys are on a PC, it's Control Alt Plus. So you'll see your view menu will be slightly different. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to practice that. So I'm going to hold down Control and Alt. Well, actually I'm holding down Command and Option, but you're going to hold down Control and Alt with 2 fingers, and then just practice pressing the plus and minus button to zoom in. So that's it. That's the keyboard shortcut. Now, the next keyboard shortcut that I'm going to teach you is the undo button. So if I hold down Control and Z, that's the undo button. So you see it moved it back over to where it was. And Command X or Control X is the delete. So delete, undo it, delete, undo it. Okay, so now we're about ready to start drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my emoji image the same size as my canvas. This is my canvas right here. And that way I can trace shapes over here and slide them over here. But the very first shape we want to draw, we don't want to trace that. We want our emoji to have a transparent background so that when we download it, we just see the emoji. We don't have like a white background or whatever. So I'm going to go up here to the shape box and click it, and then go down to shapes, hover over, and get a rectangle. I'm going to go to the corner of my Google Drawing canvas and just click and drag to draw a rectangle. By default, Google Drawing gives you a little white or little light blue color. So what we want to do is we want to change both of these. This is the border color. I want to make that transparent. This is the fill color. I want to make that transparent as well. So now, even though we can't see the box, it's there because I can select it with my cursor. I always want to, when I want to select things, I use the arrow so that I can move them around. So now I can move this guy around. Command Z to undo. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to draw another shape using the Shapes tool. I'm going to draw a circle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag to draw my circle, and then I'm going to kind of size it up with the emoji, try to get it so that it's the same size. So you see what I've done is I placed it over, and I'm just trying to kind of replicate that size. Alright, and that looks about good to me. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it over, and did you see the red X? That red X is telling me that my circle is centered on my canvas vertically and horizontally. You want that. You want it to be nice and centered. Now I'm going to change the color. So for this emoji, maybe I want to do a different color for the background. Maybe I want him to have like a skin tone, or maybe I want him to be a blue laugh out loud, or maybe a magenta or something like that. I kind of like that skin tone. It's kind of weird. I'm going to do that. Okay. So now I've got my drawing started. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start tracing some of these shapes and bringing them over here to rebuild this image. Now before I start tracing, I want to zoom in really close. So let's say I'm going to do this eyebrow right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in really close so that my mouse has a lot of room to click and trace around this shape. And then I'm going to go up here right next to where the select tool or cursor is. I'm going to go to the line toolbox. This is the line toolbox. Here's all of our different lines. We want to be using the Polyline tool. It looks like this, Polyline. So I'm going to just start going around this shape, and actually I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. Going around the shape. Now, the more times you click, the more anchor points that you add to this shape, the more you can make it look round. If you don't use very many anchor points, you're going to see lots of corners in your shape. And since this shape that I'm drawing here doesn't really have too many corners, I want to try to click the mouse as many times as I can. So and then you want to go all the way back around to where you started and click, and the shape will close. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to change the color. So I'm going to make the border color transparent. I don't want a border. And then the fill color, I'm going to try to think about the color that I chose here, which is a pink. Pink is a tint of red. That means red mixed with white. So what I want to do is I want to pick its opposite. So the opposite on the color wheel of red is green, And so I want to look for a tint of green. So maybe something like this. Maybe I'm making some sort of weird laugh out loud emoji. Okay, so now what I want to do, I'm going to zoom out here so I can see both my canvas and my shape. And I want to scoot this shape over here, but I don't want it to move up and down. I want it to stay pretty much on the circle over here, exactly where it is on the circle over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the shift button, and I'm actually moving my cursor up and down. You can see that, but the shape's not moving up and down. So that allows me to move over without my shape moving up and down. I can just move it horizontally. Okay, now what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of eyeballing how far away that shape is from the edge of the circle and guessing. All right, and that looks about good. Maybe it needs to come just a little bit down. And actually I can undo that. Let's try that again. We'll move it over here. Okay, and boom. There we go. That looks good. Okay, so now what I want to do is change that color again, because I undid that, and that's looking pretty interesting. Now, I could go over here and I could redraw this shape too, but really this shape is just a reflection of this shape, because this whole thing is symmetrical. If I divide it in half, it's the same on both sides. So I can make a copy of this. Command C or Control C is copy, and then Control V is paste. So now I have two of them. But I've got to do one more thing to this shape, and that's flip it over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right click on the shape, and then I'm going to go to rotate and then flip horizontally, and now my shape is flipped horizontally. And now all I got to do is move it so that it's about even with the other eyebrow. And that red line right there told me that I just made them nice and even. Okay, so that is the basics of Google Drawing. There's a lot more that I can show you, but now just knowing what you can do, you can go in and redo the whole emoji and also add something to it. Like, what could you put on top of this? What could you add? Like, maybe I could put a hat up here. I could draw like a hat. Maybe I could do something different with the mouth. Maybe you know, something to add to it. We're trying to spice these up, remember, and reinvent them, not just copy. Okay, have fun.